I thought my husband had ended our call, until a woman laughed beside him and asked when he planned to take my house. The voice belonged to the friend who had betrayed me 2 years earlier. Then I heard them discuss divorce papers, a secret appraisal, and the signature they still needed from me. I stayed silent, let them believe I knew nothing, and waited. By the time my husband realized the call was still connected, his romantic escape had become evidence, and the trap he built for me was closing around him. Grant came home after midnight, carrying the sharp cedar scent of a cologne I had never bought him. I was at the kitchen island, staring at a bowl of pasta that had gone cold hours earlier. He loosened his tie and frowned at the food. "You actually waited?" I wasn't hungry. He opened the refrigerator, looked inside, then shut it with his hip. "You know, Claire, this is exactly why I handle the serious things. You turn one late meeting into a crisis. If I ever stopped managing this house, the bills, the decisions, you'd be completely lost." I looked at him and kept my voice flat. "Keep believing that." His mouth tightened. For a second, I thought he had heard something in my tone. Then his phone buzzed. He flipped it face down so quickly that the movement answered every question I had not asked. "My name is Claire Bennett. I managed purchasing contracts for a hospital network in Charlotte, North Carolina. I spent my workdays catching missing clauses, inflated charges, and suppliers who hoped nobody would read the fine print. Somehow, I had stopped reading the fine print in my own marriage. That afternoon, Grant had called while I was reviewing a contract for surgical equipment. "Hey, Baba," he said. "I'm running late again. Don't make dinner for me. Another client meeting? Yeah. One of those nights? All right. Drive safe. Always. Love you." The call should have ended there. It did not. I lowered the phone, but the line stayed open. At first, I heard traffic and the dull thud of a car door. Then a woman laughed. "Grant, you promised." Every muscle in my body locked. I knew that laugh. Vanessa Cole had once been my closest friend. She had cried at my kitchen table and asked for money because her mother supposedly needed emergency treatment. I gave her $12,000. Months later, I learned her mother had never been sick. Vanessa had used the money to cover credit cards and a luxury trip. When I confronted her, she called me cruel, said I was humiliating her, and disappeared from my life. Now she was sitting beside my husband. "I'm tired of hiding." Vanessa said, "When are you going to finish this? Lower your voice." Grant replied, "She can't hear us." "You don't know that. She doesn't suspect anything. She still thinks your late nights are work." Grant exhaled hard. "I have the appraisal. I have the draft papers. I still need her signature on the home equity packet." My fingers went numb around the phone. Vanessa laughed again. Softer this time, then put it in front of her with the insurance documents. "She signs whatever you hand her. Not if she reads it. She trusts you. That's why this has to be clean. And after she signs, I move the funds, file, and push the sale. She'll fight, but she won't have the cash to drag it out." Vanessa's voice sharpened. "I have been waiting long enough. I'm not spending another holiday pretending I barely know you." "Next week," Grant said. "My attorney handles the filing next week. Just be patient." A door slammed. The line went dead. I sat in my office with the phone against my ear long after the screen turned black. Across from me, a red folder lay open beneath the fluorescent lights. The words inside it had stopped meaning anything. My coworker Dana appeared in the doorway with another contract. "Claire, I need your signature on both copies." I took the folder, but my hand shook. She leaned closer. "You look like you just saw a body." I heard something I wasn't supposed to hear. "Is it work?" "No." "Do you need me to stay?" I almost told her everything. Instead, I forced my eyes onto the contract. "I need 10 quiet minutes." Dana shut the door without another question. I read every page before signing. That simple act steadied me. Read first. React later. It was the rule I used at work. And it was the rule Grant had counted on me for getting at home. When he walked into the kitchen that night and called me helpless, I already knew about Vanessa. I knew about the attorney. I knew he wanted me to sign against the house my parents had given me before our wedding. What I did not know was how far he had gone. Grant showered, climbed into bed, and fell asleep with his phone beneath his pillow. I lay beside him, listening to his breathing. Every few minutes, the mattress shifted as his hand checked that the phone was still there. Just before dawn, he got up and dressed in the dark. "I forgot to tell you," he whispered. "I'm leaving for a business trip this morning." I kept my eyes half closed. "Where?" "Raleigh. Commercial property conference." "How long?" "A few days." He bent to kiss my forehead. I smelled Vanessa's perfume beneath his cologne. "Try not to worry about everything while I'm gone," he said. "I'll manage." He smiled as if I had made a joke. The front door closed. His SUV backed out of the driveway. I waited until the sound faded, then got dressed and went to work. By mid-morning, Grant sent a message telling me his conference schedule was packed and he might not call. An hour later, our shared travel account emailed a reservation update to the family inbox. Grant had forgotten that years earlier, I had set up the account for our vacations. There was no conference in Raleigh. There was a suite booked at a mountain resort near Asheville. 2 guests. A couple's package. Dinner. Champagne. And a spa appointment under Grant's name. I printed the confirmation and put it in my bag. Then I called the only person I trusted with the next step, Rachel Green's office. A receptionist answered. "This is Claire Bennett. Ms. Green handled my parents' estate documents. I need an emergency consultation about my marriage and my house. Can you come in late this afternoon?" "Yes." "Bring the deed. Recent bank statements. Loan documents. And anything showing your husband's plans. I have more than I wish I did." I left work early and drove home. The house looked ordinary from the street. White siding. Dark shutters. A maple tree my father planted the week I moved in. Grant had always called it our house. But the deed had been in my name before I ever met him. Inside, I stood at the bottom of the stairs and listened to the silence. Then I searched. Grant's desk drawers held pens, charging cables, old receipts, and business cards. The bottom drawer was locked. I used the small brass key he kept behind a framed college photo. Inside was a folder marked household planning. The first page was an appraisal of my home. The second was an unsigned home equity application. The requested amount was $180,000. My name appeared beside a blank signature line. Grant's name appeared beneath it. Already signed. Behind the application sat a draft letter from a divorce attorney. The notes were blunt. File after funds clear. Request temporary possession. Argue marital contribution to appreciation. Pressure sale during settlement. I read the words twice. He was not merely leaving me. He planned to borrow against my house. Move the money. File for divorce. And use the debt to force me into selling. A smaller envelope slid from the folder. It contained a receipt from a jewelry store and a photo of diamond earrings. The purchase totaled $8,400, charged to our joint credit card. I laughed once. It came out cold and unfamiliar. I could not wear pierced earrings. Grant knew that. In his closet, I found a new suitcase. In the side pocket was a printed email from Vanessa. It listed furniture for a condo, paint colors, and a move-in date. At the bottom, she had written, "Once Claire signs, we are free." The condo deposit had been paid from an account I did not recognize. I photographed everything. I did not move the papers. I did not call Grant. I did not cancel the resort. I wanted him relaxed, confident, and far away while I secured the truth. At the bank, I opened an account in my name and redirected my paycheck. I froze the joint credit card after reporting charges I had not authorized. I downloaded statements showing restaurant bills, hotel charges, jewelry purchases, and repeated transfers into the unknown account. I left the joint checking balance untouched until I spoke to Rachel. Her office overlooked uptown Charlotte. Glass towers caught the orange light as I spread my documents across her conference table. Rachel was in her 50s. Silver-haired, direct, and impossible to rattle. She reviewed the deed first. This house was transferred to you before the marriage? Yes. My parents gave it to me. And the deed has stayed in your name? Yes. Any major renovation paid from marital funds? We painted, replaced appliances, and repaired the roof. Nothing close to this loan amount. She tapped the application. He cannot legally borrow against property he does not own without your valid consent. If he planned to slip this into another stack of papers, that matters. Can he force me to sell? Not the way he seems to think. He may claim a limited marital interest if joint funds increase the value, but your separate ownership does not disappear because he says the word divorce. I felt my shoulders drop for the first time all day. What about the joint accounts? Document everything. Do not drain them. Move half of the available cash into your separate account. Leave a clear record. And stop depositing new income there. We will ask for an accounting of the money he spent on the affair and the hidden account. He has an attorney appointment next week. Rachel gave me a thin smile. Then we do not wait until next week. Does filing first mean I win? No. Filing first is not a magic trick. It does let us control the timing. Request immediate protections. And put him on the defensive before he moves more money. What can we request? An order preventing either of you from selling, refinancing, hiding, or wasting marital assets. We can also demand records for the account funding that condo. I slid Vanessa's email across the table. Rachel read it and looked up. This helps. Can I confront him? You can. But if your goal is to protect yourself, let him keep talking until the papers are filed. I stared at the skyline beyond the glass. Be honest. Would you have confronted him then? Or stayed quiet long enough to see the whole trap? I chose silence. Rachel prepared the complaint and an emergency motion. I signed where she told me to sign. After reading every line, the next morning, the documents were filed with the county court. By noon, a judge had signed a temporary order blocking either spouse from taking new loans against the house, moving large sums, selling property, or destroying financial records. Grant knew none of it. He sent me a photograph of a hotel conference room. Rows of empty chairs faced a blank screen. Long day. He wrote, "Wish you were here." I saved the message. Then I searched the image online. It came from the resort's public website. I replied, "Hope the presentation goes well." A minute later, 3 dots appeared. Vanished. Then appeared again. "You sound distant. Busy at work? Everything okay at home? Perfect." He reacted with a heart. That afternoon, I received an alert from our joint card. Someone had tried to charge a designer boutique near Asheville. The transaction was declined because I had frozen the account. Grant called immediately. "Claire, did you do something to the credit card?" I reported charges I didn't recognize. "What charges?" "Hotels, jewelry, restaurants." His silence lasted one breath too long. "Those were business expenses. Then submit them to your company. You had no right to freeze a card with my name on it. My name is on it too." "You're overreacting again." "To what?" He paused. "That's exactly my point. You create problems before you know what's happening." I looked at the court-stamped copy on my desk. "Then explain it when you get home. I can't deal with this right now." "I know." He hung up. 10 minutes later, Vanessa called me from a number I did not recognize. "Claire." "It's Vanessa." I said nothing. She filled the silence fast. "I know this is strange. But Grant's card stopped working. And he said, you might have made a mistake." "A mistake?" "Yes. He is embarrassed to ask. He has clients with him." "Are you one of the clients?" Another silence. "I'm at the resort for a branding event." "With Grant?" "We ran into each other. At a couple's spa appointment?" Her voice changed. "You have always been paranoid. And you have always been expensive?" She inhaled sharply. "You think you own him because you gave him a house and a comfortable life? You don't know what he says about you." I know what he says when he forgets to end a call. The line went dead. I set the phone down and waited. Grant called less than a minute later. What did you say to Vanessa? I asked whether she was your client. You are making a scene over nothing. She called me from your romantic getaway. It is not romantic. Then give her the earrings in the conference room. His breathing turned loud. You went through my things? I read documents in my house about a loan against my house. That house became ours when we married. No. You just became comfortable inside it. You don't understand how property works. My attorney does. That stopped him. What attorney? You'll meet her soon. Claire. Listen to me. Vanessa has been filling your head with nonsense because she likes drama. I almost admired the speed of the lie. She called to defend you. She panicked. You corner people. You borrowed money for a condo? It was an investment. You bought her jewelry? It was for a client event. You planned to hide a loan application in my insurance papers? His voice hardened. I was trying to protect us. You never think long-term. The house is sitting on equity. And you are too emotional to make smart financial decisions. There it was. Not an apology. Not even shame. Just a new version of the insult. You were going to steal from me? I was going to build something better. With her? With someone who supports me? I leaned back in my chair. Then let her finance you. He went quiet. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. Almost tender. Claire, we can fix this. I made mistakes. You have too. We have both been unhappy. You seemed happy at the spa. Stop being cruel. I laughed. You plan to put debt on my home? I said I made mistakes. You plan to leave me without cash? I was scared you would punish me. You were right. He lowered his voice. If you file anything, you will destroy both of us. The legal fees alone will eat you alive. Think about your parents. Think about how embarrassed they'll be. My father taught me to lock the door when a thief is inside. I am your husband. Not for long. I ended the call. Grant came home that evening instead of finishing his trip. His SUV stopped crooked in the driveway. He entered with his suitcase in one hand and the court papers in the other. I had changed the alarm code. A process server had delivered the complaint and the temporary order to him in the resort lobby. He pounded on the front door. Claire, open this door. I stood behind it with Dana beside me and my phone recording. You were served. I called. This is my home. The order gives me temporary possession. Read the last page. You had me thrown out? You moved out when you packed for Vanessa? That was a trip. So was the Titanic? Open the door. No. His fist struck the wood. Dana raised her phone. Do that again? And I call the police? Grant stepped back and looked through the narrow glass panel. His face was red. But his eyes were wet. Claire. Please. We need to talk without an audience. You had an audience when you planned this. Vanessa manipulated me. From the sidewalk came the slam of another car door. Vanessa crossed the lawn in high heels. Her hair loose around her face. Grant. What is going on? He turned on her. Why are you here? You said she locked you out. I said I would handle it. Vanessa looked toward the door. Claire. Stop acting insane. Let your husband inside. I opened the inner door, but kept the storm door locked. She pointed at me through the glass. You think you won because you filed some papers? Grant told me you barely understand your own finances. He built your life. I held up the home equity application. He misspelled my middle name. Her mouth closed. Grant stepped between us. Do not show her anything. Vanessa stared at him. You said she signed it. Dana and I exchanged a glance. Grant's face changed. I said she would sign it. No. You said the money was approved. Vanessa. Shut up. You shut up. My name is on the condo deposit. And whose money paid it? I asked. Vanessa looked at me. Then at Grant? He took a step toward her. Go home. She backed away. You told me the account was yours? Grant's jaw flexed. It is complicated. No. I said, "It's discoverable." He glared through the glass. "You enjoy this? Don't you?" "I enjoy clarity. You are humiliating me in front of the neighborhood. You arrived with your mistress?" "She is not my mistress." Vanessa spun toward him. "Excuse me?" Grant closed his eyes. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Vanessa ripped the diamond earrings from her purse and threw the box at his chest. "You said the house was half yours? You said the loan was done. You said she was too weak to fight." The box hit the driveway and opened. One earring slid beneath his SUV. Grant looked at me as if I had caused it. "This is what you wanted?" "No." I said, "This is what you built." Vanessa stormed back to her car. Grant called her name, but she did not stop. Dana leaned toward me. "That might be the fastest breakup I've ever seen." Grant heard her. "This is not funny." Dana's expression hardened. "Neither is fraud." He picked up his suitcase and the empty jewelry box. "Where am I supposed to go?" I looked at the resort confirmation in his hand. "Try the couple's suite." He left. The discovery process exposed more than I expected. The hidden account belonged to an investment company Grant had formed with Vanessa. He had transferred $63,000 from joint funds into it over 18 months. Some transfers came directly from our checking account. Others were disguised as payments to a consulting vendor. The vendor used Vanessa's apartment as its mailing address. Rachel subpoenaed the account records, the condo contract, the jewelry receipts, and Grant's messages with Vanessa. In one message, he wrote that once I signed the loan papers, I would be too broke to fight the divorce. In another, Vanessa called me a useful little machine who worked, saved, and trusted. Rachel slid the printed messages toward Grant's attorney during mediation. Grant stared at the table. His attorney asked for a private break. When they returned, the swagger was gone. Grant offered to drop every claim against the house if I agreed not to pursue reimbursement for all the missing money. Rachel looked at me. I shook my head. Grant leaned forward. "Claire, don't do this out of spite. You moved our money into a company with your girlfriend? It was an investment. You spent it on a condo, trips, and jewelry. We were building a business. You booked a couple's massage?" His attorney touched his arm. Grant pulled away. "You always do this. You reduce everything to one ugly detail so you can feel superior." I kept my hands folded. "You hid the pretty details?" He looked toward Rachel. "She is enjoying hurting me." Rachel answered before I could. "My client is asking for documented funds to be returned." Grant turned back to me. "After everything I did for you? You mean everything you did with my signature line left blank? I loved you. You loved Access. That ended the performance. The final settlement left the house entirely mine. Grant gave up any claim related to repairs or appreciation. The money he had moved into the hidden company was credited against his share of the marital assets. He also accepted responsibility for the jewelry charges and most of the condo deposit. The temporary order became a permanent part of the settlement. He could not touch the house. And he could not force a sale. Vanessa's consequences came from her own paperwork. Her employer discovered she had used a corporate vendor profile and business email to support the fake consulting company. She was fired after an internal audit. I never contacted her boss. I did not need to. Financial records have a way of introducing themselves. A few weeks after mediation, Vanessa s'ennuie un message. You ruined my career and stole Grant from me. I read it once and replied, he was never stolen. He was returned. She blocked me. Grant tried a different approach. He emailed apologies, then accusation, then apologies again. He said Vanessa had pressured him. He said I had neglected him. He said stress had changed him. He said the hidden account was supposed to become a surprise investment for our future. Rachel advised me not to answer. I answered only once. After he wrote that, I had destroyed the best years of his life. You spent them. I documented them. After that, I sent everything through counsel. On the morning, the divorce became final. I stood outside the courthouse under a clear Carolina sky. Dana waited beside my car with coffee. How do you feel? She asked. I expected to feel triumphant. Instead, I felt quiet. Like I can hear myself think again. That's good. It is. We drove back to my house. My father's maple tree had begun to turn red at the edges. Inside, the rooms looked larger without Grant's clothes. His golf clubs, and the constant tension of waiting for a door to open. I replaced the lock he had hit. I canceled the credit card he had abused. I framed the clean deed after Rachel sent the final certified copy, not because I worshipped a house, but because I wanted one honest document on the wall. Grant had believed trust made me weak. Vanessa had believed silence made me stupid. They were both wrong. Silence gave me time to read. Trust gave them enough rope to leave a paper trail. And when the moment came, I did not scream, bay, or compete for a man who had already priced my life like an asset. I closed the account. I locked the door. I let the records speak. So tell me honestly, would you have handled Grant the way I did? Or would you have given him one last chance? Leave your decision in the comments.